Right. Yes. Good morning. Good morning to all guys. Right. And can you check it? What we completed in the last session? Can you check it, guys? I think so. In yesterday's session, a bit of delay. I took the class. Can you tell me what exactly the content we started in the last session now? And just we completed like total Python history we completed, and we started in that introduction part. Python history we completed. Then after we started, yesterday we started differences between Python and others. And as part of these differences between Python and others, and right, sir, and we provided like which one? In differences between Python and others, already we completed one difference. Can you tell me, guys, what was the difference we completed in the last class? No, if we observe this difference there, the difference is C and C++ are static programming languages, but Java and Python are dynamic programming languages. That's it. So, C and C++ are static programming languages, but Java and Python are dynamic programming languages. This is the very first point what we discussed. Right. Guys, just one more time, I'm asking to all of you. Hare Krishna. Then tell me, is my voice is clear to all of you guys? Is my voice is clear to all of you? Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, good. Right, sir. And if any of you are not getting my voice clearly, then once again, try to rejoin with our webinar and we are able to get it. And one more point I'm telling to you, the moment when we join with the webinar, just 2 to 3 seconds of time, 2 to 3 seconds of time, it may not be clear. After completion of this 2 to 3 seconds of time, then it will be okay. Going on. Perfectly. Good. All right, sir. Now, what I given clarity there in the last classes regarding the C, C++ are static and Java and Python are dynamic. What exactly the points are given there clearly. Any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data, for the data or whatever it may be, for the primitive data at the compilation time. At the compilation time, then that programming language is called as static programming language. Examples for the static programming languages are C and C++. Why? Because in the C and C++ applications, memory will be allocated at compilation time only, not at execution time. Right, sir. Next one is, what about these dynamic programming languages? If you have to this point, no. If any programming language allows memory allocation for the data at a runtime, primitive data, normal data, whatever it may be, at a runtime, then that programming language is called as dynamic programming language. That programming language is called as dynamic programming language. Examples for dynamic programming language, examples are, we can understand it, Java and Python. Java and Python. Right, sir. In a Java, memory will be allocated at runtime only, even though compilation is available, but at compilation time, memory will not be allocated. Why? Because I can give some reasons. Reason number one. Guys, now I'm asking one point, now try to answer for it. Java is an object-oriented programming language or not? Come on, guys, please confirm to me. Java is an object-oriented programming language or not? Please, all of you know. Right, sir. object-oriented programming language. So, in Java applications, data will be stored in the form of objects or not. In object-oriented programming languages, data will be stored in the form of objects or not. Simple points. In object-oriented programming languages, data will be stored in the form of objects. The form of objects only. That's perfect. Object is a memory block, not any other one. Object is a memory block. So when object is creating, memory will be allocated for the data. When object is not created, memory will not be allocated for the data. The simple point. When object is creating, memory will be allocated for data. When object is not created, memory will not be created for the data. Understand it? Very simple thing. So what is the point I'm telling to you? In the Java, listen guys, all of you have to this clearly now. In the Java, objects are creating at runtime. At runtime means that in Java, memory allocation is going on. Memory allocation is available. Is going on. Memory allocation is going on at runtime, not at compilation time. At runtime. So that then finally here we are able to conclude that by seeing these points, no, we can give conclusion. So Java is like which one? A dynamic programming language. Java is the following. Simply speaking, what I'm telling you, Java is having dynamic memory allocation. So that I'm able to give conclusion. So that Java is a dynamic programming language. Java is a dynamic programming language. That's it, guys. Now, this is the simple analysis about this Java I'm telling to you. But good, now that's fine. But now I'm talking about this Python. What about this Python situation, guys? Python situation I'm telling you. Then one more point I'm telling to you. See, in the case of this normal programming point of view, whenever we prepare a program, we have to perform compilation and execution. Two separate processes here we have to perform. Compilation and execution, two things here we have to perform in general in every programming mode. Say, for example, if you take the C programming language, or if you take C++ programming language, or maybe if you take Java, in all the cases, compilation is a separate process and execution is a separate process. Because of that reason, you can conclude that compilation, some conclusions, and it contains some conclusions which are available in the case of C, C++, Java. But what is the point I'm telling you in the case of this Python? In the Python, there is no separate process. There is no separate process for compilation. There is no separate process for compilation. Everything will be performed. Everything will be performed at runtime. There is no separate process for compilation. Everything will be performed at runtime only. Everything will be performed at runtime. Like everything will be performed at runtime. That is, memory allocation for data is also be performed at runtime. Memory allocation is also be performed at runtime. Guys, all of you have to do this clearly. In Python, there is no separate process for compilation. Everything will be performed at runtime. That is, memory allocation for data is also performed at runtime. So, because of this reason, due to this reason, we can conclude Python is following dynamic memory allocation. So Python is dynamic programming language. That's it, guys. These are the reasons that we have to understand. I think so. Just we completed up to this part in the last sessions. We completed up to this part in the last class about the static programming language and dynamic programming language. Guys, now tell me, all of you are getting clarity up to this points now? Just one time give clarity on it, then I'll move forward. I'll move to the next topic. All of you are getting clarity up to this point? That means C, C++ are static programming languages, Java and Python are dynamic programming language. All of you are getting clarity up to this? No response, guys. Right, sir. That's fine. Now, then I'll come for the next topic. I'll come for the next topic. Now try to recognize this. What would be the next topic now? Second point. That means in the differences between Python and others is second point. What is that second one? The second thing, preprocessor is required in C and C++, but preprocessor not required in Java and Python. Of course, already if you are attending my Java classes, right, these points, almost all these points you are aware. But with respect to Python, I have not given any conclusions previously. Now we have to understand the Python conclusions, but all the remaining content you have got clear. For the remaining members, I will discuss completely. Guys, just wait a minute of time. I will take your session, guys. Right, sir. Preprocessor is required in a C and a C++, but preprocessor is not required in a Java and a Python. Okay, now then if you are attending my Java classes, almost all these points you are aware, but wait for the Python conclusion. But for the new members, just each and every point we have to understand. Now try to recognize this. One by one, one by one. I want to discuss with you that all the points. All right, sir. Now, first of all, I'm asking to you, before going to understand preprocessor is required or not required in C, C++, Java, and Python. Before understanding this, first of all, tell me what is preprocessor and what is the location of the preprocessor in a programming languages. What is preprocessor and what is the location of the preprocessor in programming languages? That point here we have to understand. Yes, all of you observe this clearly, what I'm telling you. Now, listen carefully, all of you know. I'll take a simple diagram. As per this diagram, I'm able to show the point to you. Now try to recognize it. Right. For example, I'm going to take a simple C programming file, C file. Even you are not aware about any programming part, no need to worry for this, guys. I'll give much clarity. I will discuss with you with very good clarity, but try to recognize this. Say, for example, I will take a C file. This is my .c file. .c file. Then after that, I want to perform compilation. Here we have to go for compilation. Then after performing compilation, we are able to get .exe file. When we perform compilation, here what we are able to get there, .exe file. Okay, fine. After this .exe file, we need to perform execution process. Here we have to go for execution process. The execution process here we have to perform. Then when we complete this execution, there we are able to get some output. Output here we are able to get. Even in the last class also we have seen similar work, similar content. Right. Now here we are able to get some outputs when we execute our program. That's it. All right, sir. Good. Compilation process, if you observe this, if you observe this compilation process, the compilation process, how many parts are available here in a compilation process? If you observe this compilation actually, then where four missions work it is going on. In compilation, four missions work is going on. In compilation, four missions work is going on. What are these four missions? No. First one is preprocessor, preprocessor, and the second one is after this preprocessor. The second one is compiler, and the next one is assembler. Next one is loader, link editor. Good. Yes, all of you observe this clearly. Preprocessor, compiler, assembler, loader, link editor. These are the four missions are working together as part of this slide, which one? No? As part of compilation process. Compilation is not from single mission work. Compilation is a combination of four missions: preprocessor, compiler, assembler, loader, link editor. Good. So all are interconnected, one after another, one by one are going to be performed. Next, again here, my required point is completed, sir. Preprocessor is a part of the compilation. That point I want to say, that's okay, good. In the future, I required compiler internal structure also be required in the future. In the future, compiler internal structure also be provided, is required in the future. That's why I'm going to provide the compiler internal structure also. What is this compiler internal structure? The first one will be lexical analysis. This first one. Next one is syntax analysis. Second one is syntax analysis. And third one is semantic analysis. And the fourth one is intermediate code generation. After that, code optimization. Then after that, code generation. As all of you observe this clearly. Right, so overall, these many phases are available inside the compiler. But anyway, all these phases immediately we don't require that. Just I'm giving structure. What exactly the phases are available, just to know that I given this type of structure, but actually it's not required immediately. Anyway, I started this diagram, so I want to complete this diagram. That's why I given the total structure. Right. There is a lexical analysis phase, syntax analysis phase, semantic analysis phase, intermediate code generation, code optimization, then finally code generation. Good. This is the total structure inside the compiler. Good guys. Now here my requirement is like which one? What is my requirement here? What exactly the location of the preprocessor? What is the location of the preprocessor? This is exactly my requirement. That's all. Let me share this diagram. I will share this diagram also to you later on. Today I will share the diagram also. Now this is like which one? Preprocessor diagram. But as I'm saying, preprocessor is not required in C, Java and Python. And as I'm saying, C preprocessor is required in C and C++. So first of all, we have to understand at which location preprocessor is existed. At which location preprocessor is existed. At that point, here we have to understand. Right, sir. Good. Fine, sir. Then after that, now we are getting the conclusion. Preprocessor is a tool, part of the compilation. Preprocessor is a component, part of the compilation. Good. That's the point here we can understand. So first point, what I'm telling to you, preprocessor, the component, is a compilation. Third compilation. That's the point. Good. Then what is its work actually? What it able to do? Preprocessor is a component in compilation that we understood, but what it able to do? Right. For that, I'm asking few questions. You try to answer for it. Guys, can you tell me All of you, can you tell me? Can you tell me in C and C plus plus? In the C and C plus plus, complete predefined library provided in the form of header files. Am I right or not? Guys, I'm asking to you know. Right, sir. In a C and C plus plus, complete predefined library is provided in the form of header files. Am I right or not? Exactly, yes. Right. The total predefined library was provided in the form of header files. Can you tell me, guys, what are these header files? No? Any examples? Do you have any idea on these header files? Can you please, guys, now tell me header files? Just Surinder, just understand it is a file. That's it, which contains a predefined library. Yeah. Surinder, understand my point. It is a header file. It is a file, just like it's a file where some libraries are available. That's it, not more than that. So I'm able to give some header files to you. Yesterday.h, yesterday.h. Examples I'm telling you, header files examples. Library is managed in the form of these files. These are some type of files. Just like which one? Normal text files are available. .txt file. Similarly, .h. .h in a sense, header file. Good. So here what we are able to specify now. Yesterday.h. Next one is Kanyo.h. Next one is math.h. Like this, different header files are available. But all these things are not required. Just we can understand some of them. In C and C++, the complete predefined library provided in the form of header files. Yesterday.h, Kanyo.h, and what next one here? Math.h, like this. Good. Next one is, then after that, I want to use predefined library in my C and C++ program. Guys, all of you after this, I want to use this predefined library in my C and C++ program. If you want to use this predefined library in a C and C++ applications, we have to include this predefined library in our C and C++ files. Want to use predefined library in a C and C++ applications. C and C++ applications, then we have to include predefined library, then we have to include header files. When we have to include header files, in C and C++ applications. Alright, so now how we are going to include these header files in C and C++ applications? No, to include header files in C and C++ applications, we have to use hash include statement, guys. What we have to use, hash include statements here we have to use. Simple points only. Already you are aware about all these points. That's why I'm telling you clearly. So if you want to include header files in our C and C++ applications, we have to use hash include statements. Now here I'm telling you hash include yesterday.h, then hash include Kanyo.h, then hash include math.h. Like this, here we are able to provide all the header files. That's okay, good. Now all of you guys observe this clearly, what I'm telling you. Listen carefully. For example, I prepared a program, C program. Inside this C program, I included all these hash include statements. Listen carefully. I can give Python conclusion very clearly in this particular point, but we have to recognize it, what I'm telling you. Right, sir. Now, hash include statements here I provided. I prepared a C program. Inside the C program, I prepared these hash include statements. When I provide hash include statements inside my C program, and I compiled my program. When I compile this C program, what is the job of the preprocessor? When we compile C and C++ applications, then preprocessor will perform following actions. What are the various actions which are performed by preprocessor? Tell me, guys. When we compile C and C++ applications, preprocessor will perform some actions. What are the various actions which will perform with preprocessor? Guys, all of you observe this clearly now. Preprocessor will recognize hash include statements and the provided package names. Preprocessor will recognize all hash include statements. Preprocessor will recognize hash include statements and the provided package names. Understand, guys? And any difficulty with these points? Yes, I'm asking to you. Are able to follow all these points? What I'm saying to you, they're very, very basics only, fundamentals only. Even if you're not having any awareness on C and C++, that I'm discussing now, then C programming information. Next I will go for Java. Next I will go for Python. Python is very, very simple. Then all these conclusions I'm able to give in Python, very, very simple. And finally, I will conclude Python is very, very simple than other programming languages. So if you want to understand simplicity in Python, first you have to understand difficulty with the other programming languages. That's why I'm talking about C, C++ and all. Understand, guys? Then even if you don't know anything about C programming language, no problem. Yes, I'm giving right from scratch, right from 0 level onwards, I'm starting this content. Right, sir? Then all of you are following these points or not? Just give one time clarity for me. All of you are understanding it or not? No response, guys. Yes, perfect. Good, sir. That's fine. Good. Now, observe this clearly. Given clearly the location of the preprocessor, when we compile this program, where number of things are available: preprocessor, compiler, assembler, loader, link editor. Here, preprocessor location I've given. The remaining part is not required, but to complete the diagram, I have given the remaining part. Preprocessor we understood location, but what this preprocessor is doing, but I'm explaining now. In C and C++, the complete predefined library is available in the form of header files. These are the various header files. But if you want to use these header files in C and C++ programs, we have to include them. To include these header files, we are using like which one? Hash include statement. And after that, when we compile our C program, then what is the job of the preprocessor? I'm talking about preprocessor responsibilities. Preprocessor will perform some actions. The preprocessor will recognize hash include statements, and the preprocessor will read the names of the instead of saying packages, just I'm saying like which one? Header files. Preprocessor will recognize the provided header files names. That's okay, not package names, header files names. Getting these header files names, then what preprocessor will do? Right, so now preprocessor will check whether these header files are preprocessor will check whether these header files are existed or not in C and C++ softwares. Directly, preprocessor will go to C and C++ softwares where it will check whether these header files are existed or not existed. Good. What I'm telling to you, if these header files are existed, then what preprocessor will do now? Then preprocessor will load all these header files content, predefined library one. All these header files content, preprocessor will load all these header files content to the memory, directly RAM memory. That means execution memory. If these header files are existed, then preprocessor will load all these header files content to the memory. Guys, all of you observe this clearly. So here, loading predefined library at a compilation time. Compilation time is called as static loading. I guess all of you observe this clearly. Loading predefined library at a compilation time is called as static loading. Not more than that. If these header files are existed, then preprocessor will load all these header files content to the memory. Loading predefined library at compilation time is called as like which one? Static loading. Now guys, observe this clearly. Preprocessor is performing static loading. This is the job of the preprocessor. Now I can give the conclusion. In the C and C++, preprocessor is required. At least we have to remember this conclusion. Preprocessor is required to recognize hash include statements. Preprocessor is required to recognize the hash include statements in order to load data files content. And C++ preprocessor is required to recognize the hash include statements in order to load header files content. In order to load header files content. That is the total awareness, unlike which one? Why preprocessor is required in C and C++. That's the point, guys. What I'm telling you. Guys, all of you understand this point up to now? Just I completed C and C++. Why preprocessor is required in the case of C and C++. I given this point. All of you are getting my points clearly? Please confirm to me. No response. Please confirm to me, guys. All of you know. I'm asking to all of you. Up to now, why preprocessor is required in C and C++? Just I've given information. All of you understood it? Right, understand. Clear. So next one is, after that, after completion of this particular content, why preprocessor is not required in Java and Python. In Java and Python, why it is not required? That points here we are going to understand. Right, sir. Now let's up to this point now. In Java, first of all, let me take the points about this Java. What is a header file, sir? Then already I given information there. Not required to think too much about C code. Just header files, in the sense normal files, which contain some predefined library. Executable code is available. Inside this header file, some predefined library and its executable code is available. In C and C++, they are available. So whenever we are using these statements in C and C++ program, preprocessor will load these header files content to the memory. Then after that, once they are loaded, in C and C++ program, we can use like which one? Printf functions or scanf functions or different functions that we are able to use. That was the working process are given there clearly. But how to use them in C and C++, we don't require that. Not required. Just my requirement is, what is the job of the preprocessor? That's my question. That's it. What is the job of the preprocessor in a C and C++? That's required. Then how we are going to use predefined library is not at all required in the case of C and C++. Now, as of now, as we are going to learn Python. Understood? Hari Krishna. Understand what I'm saying to you? No response. Yeah, that's fine. Now, come on, guys. Now, understand it clearly. First of all, let's come for this Java. Then after that, I will go for Python. Now, all of you observe this clearly. In Java, Surendra Reddy, please rise. No problem. Then I'll check it and I will give you answer for you. In Java, the complete predefined library. In Java, the complete predefined library. Java, the complete predefined library is existed in the form of classes and interfaces, the packages. Of course, simply speaking, package. In Java, the complete predefined library is existed in the form of classes and interfaces in packages. Right, sir. C and C++ is not mandatory to learn before Python, sir. Whatever the points we record that I'm discussing now, these are basics of C and C++ only. In the comparison, I'm providing that. But to learn this Python, C and C++ are not required. But why I'm telling these points now? Python is different from C and C++ Java. To show that point, when I'm talking about C, C++, Java. At least, and all right, sir. No, this will ask in interview. No. Then for our clarity purpose, I'm telling you. So this kind of differences that interviewer may not ask you, but if they're asking, just we can give this type of explanation. I'm giving clarity on each and every point. Right, sir. Then to learn Python, as per my strong recommendation, not to have any programming language awareness, directly we can learn Python. But still, in the comparison point of view, how Python is different from C and C++, if you are getting this question, then we have to answer for it. That's why I'm giving all these points. At least wait up to my Python conclusion. Wait up to my Python conclusion, guys. Wait up to that. Then why are you thinking much about it? It's at least I have not given any Python conclusion. At least understand the Python conclusion. Then after that, you can decide for it. Huh? Surendra Reddy. Are you getting what I'm telling you? Wait for a minute of time. Just let me complete my point, and after that, we'll have some discussion on it. That's it. In Java, the complete predefined libraries existed in the form of classes and interfaces in packages. Guys, and I'm asking to you, can you tell me, do you know any packages in a Java? Any package names? No problem. I'll write them. But if do you have any awareness on these package names? Any idea on package names? Any idea on package names, guys? Can you tell me some example packages? Some example packages, can you tell me? Right, so just we can understand java.io package, java.util package, and java.sql package. Like this, some packages. Packages can be able to write it. Good. A lang package is available, that's okay when it's a default package. Guys, now tell me, in a C and C++ library is available in the form of header files. To include the header files, we have used hash include statements. Similarly, in the case of Java, predefined libraries exist in the form of packages. Package is nothing but is a collection of classes and interfaces, sir. Not more than that. So in the form of packages, classes and interfaces are available. What are the various packages? No, Java.io, Java.util, and Java.sql. These packages are existed. Good. If you want to use predefined library in Java, we have to include packages in the Java applications. After this claim, if you want to use predefined library in Java, we have to include packages in Java applications. Right, so now to include packages in Java applications, we have to use import statement. We have to use which statement, guys? Import statements. Example I'm telling you. Right, so now import java.io.star. Means that in a java.io package, number of classes and interfaces are available. I want to use all of them. That's why I'm using star. A java.io package, number of classes and interfaces are available. They're predefined library. I want to get all of them. That's why I'm using star. Similarly, import java.util.star. Java.util.star. So again, java.util is a package, no? Inside this package, number of classes and interfaces are available. I want to get them into my Java file. That's why I'm using star. Star is nothing but which one? All classes and interfaces. All classes and interfaces. That's fine. Similarly, import java.sql.star. Import java.sql.star. In java.sql.star, java.sql is a package. There are number of classes and interfaces are available. If you want to use all classes and interfaces now, inside the present Java file, we have to import the java.sql package. Good, so now this is the total awareness on like which one? Import statements we provided here. Absolutely clear. Next one, after completion of this point, after understanding this. Now, observe this clearly. I prepared a Java program. Inside this Java program, I have written all these import statements. Good. When we compile Java program, compiler will perform the following actions. Guys, up to this clearly what compiler is performing actions now. Point number one, compiler will perform the following actions. What are the various actions? Now, point number one, compiler will recognize import statements and compiler will take all packages names what we provided. This is point number one. Compiler will recognize import statements and compiler will take all package names which we provided. This is one thing. Next one, after that, compiler will search for these packages. Compiler will search for these packages in Java software. Point number three, if these packages are not existed, then compiler will raise an error. Definitely here we are able to get some error if these packages are not available in Java programming language. What are the package names can be specified? If these package names are not available in Java, then where compiler is able to raise an error. For example, if these packages are existed in Java software, then compiler will not rise up. Then compiler will not raise any error. Compiler will not raise any error, and compiler will not load any package content to the memory. Compiler will not load any package content to the memory. As all of you observe this clearly. What is the job of the compiler when we compile our program? Compiler will recognize all the import statements. Compiler will take all the package names, and compiler will search for these packages are exist or not exist in Java software. If these packages are not existed, then compiler will raise an error. If these packages are exist in Java software, where compiler will not raise any error. Compiler will not raise any error. But at the same time, compiler will not load any package content to the memory. Why? Because in the case of Java, compiler is not responsible for loading packages content to the memory, where compiler is responsible for checking whether packages are available or not. Compiler is responsible for checking the packages whether they exist or not. Compiler is not responsible for loading package content to the memory. Okay, good. That's fine. If compiler is not doing this type of compiler is not loading any package content to the memory, then who will take the responsibility to load package content to the memory? Who will load this package content to the memory? Who will load that? Has any idea? If compiler is not doing that, then who will load that one? Yes, exactly. I'm telling one point clearly. At runtime, when JVM requires any class or interface, from a particular package, at runtime, when JVM requires class or interface from a particular package, then only JVM will load the required classes and interfaces from the package. At runtime, when JVM required class or interface from a particular package, then only when JVM required particular class or interface from a particular package, then only JVM will load the required classes and interfaces from the packages. So here, understand it clearly. Here itself, I'm giving one conclusion. Loading predefined library at runtime. Loading predefined library at runtime is called as dynamic loading. What is like which one? Dynamic loading. That's it. Loading predefined library at runtime is called as like which one? Dynamic loading. Guys, now this is a story in the case of Java. Now come for it. Why preprocessor is not required in the case of Java? I'm giving conclusion. Preprocessor is not required in Java. Why? Because Java doesn't have header files. That means hash include statements, and the header files. Java does not include hash include statements and header files. That's it. Because of this reason, Java doesn't require is a preprocessor. That's the point. In the case of this Java. Now coming to our actual point, coming to our actual requirement. What about this Python? In Python, is that preprocessor is required or not required? If you come for this one, I'm able to give conclusion, guys. Now try to observe this clearly. In Python, listen carefully. How the complete predefined libraries existed. In C and C++, library is available in the form of header files. In Java, library is available in the form of classes and interfaces in the form of packages. And similarly, in Python, the complete predefined library is existed. Complete predefined library is existed in the form of modules and packages. Understand, guys? Right, sir. Then what's the point I'm telling to you? Note point I'm telling to you. In the case of Java, at runtime, while executing your program, when JVM required class or interface from a particular package, then only JVM will load the required classes and interfaces from the package. Loading predefined library at runtime is called as dynamic loading. Yes, that's the point what I'm telling you. See, compiler is just checking whether packages are available or not in Java. Okay, fine. Compiler is approving that as the specified packages are available. Then at runtime, when JVM required class or interfaces from the respective package, then only JVM will load the required classes and interfaces to the memory. Loading classes and interfaces to the memory at runtime is called as like which one? Dynamic loading. Understand? Soumya Krishna ma'am. Understood my point? What I'm saying to you now. So this is like which one? Dynamic loading. So simply Java is following like which one? Dynamic loading. Why? Because in Java, library will be loaded at runtime. But in the case of C and C++, library is loaded at a compilation time. That's what static loading is. Now in the case of Java, like which one? Dynamic loading. Good. Now coming to the preprocessor is not required in Java. Why? Because Java does not have hash include statements and header files. That's it. Leave it now. In the case of this Python, this is our required punch. The complete predefined libraries existed in the form of modules and the classes and interfaces in packages. Yes, all of you observe this. The complete predefined libraries exist in the form of modules and classes and interfaces in packages. Good, guys. Now some examples I'm telling to you. Listen carefully. What are these modules are available now? Number of modules are available. NumPy is a module. Next one is like which one? Pandas is a module. And like what I'm telling you, math module is available. Then after that, math module. Then what next one? Random module is available. After this random module, date to time module is available. Like this, number of modules are existing. Good, guys. Now all of you observe this clear. Next one is if you want to use a predefined library. If you want to use predefined library in Python applications, we have to include modules in a Python program, Python file. That's that. Then how we are able to include this? Come on, guys. All of you observe this clearly. How we are able to include this? Right, sir. If you want to use predefined library in Python applications, we have to include modules in Python file. But to include modules in a Python file, we have to import modules. Then how we are going to import this module now? How we are able to import this module now? Right. We have to import modules. Right. But how we are able to import modules? Just examples I'm telling you. Guys, all of you observe this clearly. Simply here we can write like which one? Import NumPy. For example, import NumPy as NP. For example, one is import pandas as a PD. Next one is import, and after that math as M. Like this, just we can write like which one number of import statements. Now next one is like which one import date to time as a DT. Like this, we are able to write some import statements, and these are alias names. NP or PD or M or DT, all these are like which one? Alias names. That's okay. Now listen carefully, guys. In the case of Python, no compilation process. This is first point. Everything is going on at runtime only. Good. Everything is going on at runtime only. Then what is going on there? When we execute Python application, PVM. What is this PVM, guys? Now tell me, all of you know. PVM. What is this PVM? All of you know, tell me what PVM is able to do. When we execute Python application, what PVM is able to do? PVM will recognize import statements and module names. PVM will recognize import statements and module names, comma. PVM will search these modules. PVM will search these modules are exist or not in a Python software. if these modules are, just understand it, no? When we execute Python application, then PVM will perform the following actions. I want to give steps now. PVM in the sense Python virtual machine. Right, so now step number 1 is like what I'm telling you, PVM will recognize import statements and module names. And second point is PVM will search these modules, they will search these modules are exist or not in Python software. That's point number 3. If these modules are not existed in Python software, then we are able to get errors. Fourth point, if these modules are existed in a Python software, then what PVM will do, guys? Now tell me, no. Yeah, what PVM will do? If these modules are exist in Python software, then PVM will load the respective PVM will load the respective module content to the memory. PVM will use the respective predefined library. Guys, now tell me, in the case of Python, library is loaded at what time, sir? Now tell me, no. Library is loaded at what time in the case of this Python? Come on, guys. All of you have to this clearly. No? At what time that library is loaded in the case of this Python? Listen, points are very clear. In the Python, there is no compilation phase. There is no compilation phase separately. So everything, there is no compilation phase separately, then everything is going on at runtime. That is what I'm telling you know. That is loading predefined library. Loading predefined library is also be going on at runtime. So this type of loading is called as dynamic loading. Yes, this type of loading is called as like which one? Dynamic loading. Just comparison I'm providing here. What happened in the case of C, C++? What happened in the case of Java? And what happened in the case of Python? That each and every step, each and everything here we are performing now. So Java and Python are following dynamic loading. That's the point here we understood now. Now coming to the conclusion. In Python, now tell me guys, in Python, is there any requirement to go for preprocessor? Is there any requirement to use preprocessor in the case of Python, guys? Now tell me no. By seeing this total punch, what is the job of the preprocessor? It has to recognize hash include statement and it has to include the specified, like what I'm telling you, header files content to the memory. That is the purpose of preprocessor. In the case of Java, preprocessor is not required. Why? Because no header files and no hash include statement. And in the case of Python also, predefined library is provided in the form of like which one? Import statements. So no header files and no hash include statements. So in Python, preprocessor is not required. Preprocessor is not required. Why? Because in Python, preprocessor is not required. Why? Because in Python, hash include statements and header files are not required, are not existed. Because of this reason, preprocessor is not required in the case of this Python. Guys, all of you understand it, what I'm telling you. Preprocessor is not required. Why? Because in Python, hash include statements and header files are not existed. So not required to do any pre-processing kind of things. Not required to go for any pre-processing kind of thing. That's why it is not required. Yes, exactly. Ponmorally, right. That point is available but not required now. In the future, in the model spot, I will discuss with you exactly. Same thing. What you thought, it's right. Okay, fine. Right, yes. Now this is like what I'm telling you, the comparison. Then how about the preprocessor and how it is existed and all the points we understood, guys. Good. And Guys, now tell me, can you tell me? I think so. I given already Google Classroom code, right? I prepared Google Classroom for this also, right? One minute, guys. Guys, have I created any Google Class so far? No, not yet. All right, just wait a minute of time. I will show to you. Wait a minute of time. I will create a class where I will share these documents to you. Daily classroom notes I want to share with you. Wait a minute of time, sir. Just once it is created, then I will show how we are going to use this. Right, listeners. So for introduction, all the things here I'm going to be shared with you. Guys, all of you, please take this classroom coach, whatever the classroom gear I provided. Guys, then please take this classroom code, Google Classroom coach, what I given. I want to share document regularly through this channel. Right. If you have taken this, now type done, or else taken or something else. Give some information for me. If you take this, right. Guys, and I'll show to you then how to access the resources from this. Then what I'm telling to you, just first of all, what we have to do there. First, open your Gmail ID. Open your Gmail, guys. Now all of you have to this clearly. Open your Gmail here. Then after that, come to this Google Apps, the right side topmost corner, Google Apps. Click on it, scroll down. There we are able to get classroom. Scroll down. There we are able to get classroom. Click on this classroom. Click on classroom. Then, if we click on this classroom, here we are able to get plus symbol. We are able to get plus symbol. Now click on plus symbol. Where join class option is available, just click on this join class option. Join class option. Then inside this join class option, here it's asking class code. Enter the class code. What you have taken, enter the class code. Then when we enter this class code here, join option will be activated, join button. Click on this join button. Enter this class code here and click on join button. Right, sir. If you click on the join button, automatically you will join to my class. That means what is the class? Right, sir. So here what I'm telling you, you may come to this location. Then here we are able to get resources now. Whatever the resources I uploaded, we are able to get these resources now. Guys, please remember carefully. If you want to download these resources, then what we have to do? Right click on it, open in new tab. Right click on it and open in new tab. There, download button is coming. Where download button is coming. Right click on it. Download button is coming. Click on this download button. Click on download button. Then automatically the resource will be downloaded. Then resource will be downloaded. Right, so now just we can see this. That's it. This is a procedure here. What I said to you. Guys, understood it? What I'm saying to you. Just don't click on it. If you click on directly this one, you will not get any download option. That will be open in Google Diagrams. Right, so now here we are not going to get any download. There we have to go for something else here. We have to select it. Then we have to select it here. No, not selection. Here also here we have to go for like which one, copy image or copy something else. That we have to do there. That's good. So it's not required. Then what I'm telling to you, just don't go for it. Just right click on it and open a new tab. Then we will get a new tab. Their download option is coming. Just click on this download. So the content will be downloaded. That's going on, guys. So in that way, here we have to do the process. Fine. Everyday notes I'm going to be uploaded through this channel. Just try to utilize this channel and please remember this Google Classroom code. Anyway, continuously we are able to get some messages. Messages in the sense mails we are able to get whenever I am posting some content. From that we are able to download the content. Right, guys. That's all for today. This is the content what I'm telling to you. Okay. Fine, guys. Then I'm going to wind up the session. That's fine. Right. Right. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot. Surendra Reddy, just try to attend for 2-3 days. Then try to check the possibility. Then why? Because all these are very very fundamentals only, basics only. Then all members are understanding that. I think so. Then time to time I'm taking feedback from all the members there, but everybody they are understanding that. Then if you are getting a problem there, then try to listen that videos 2 to 3 times. No, within 1 hour that video is going to be uploaded. Now try to listen that video. Still, if you are not getting the problem, if you are not understanding that, then we'll go for some alternative. First of all, now try to listen that video 2 to 3 times, and we are able to get it. Because all these things are very, 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 very fundamental. So, yeah. Google Drive that videos will be shared, guys. Okay, Shiva. Then some browsers try to change the browser and try for it. Shiva, waiting. Then try with another browser. You may get it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, download it. Yeah, Umesh Kumar, download it. Guys, try to check, guys. All of you are downloading that or not. I think everybody will download that. Yeah, in a Python package, you are able to get Django also. Yeah, Django also you are able to get it. But might be within 2 to 3 days of time, I'm going to start Django, but that is not applicable for you. Why? Because separately I will start Django classes for you, not now. Yeah. Then I will start separated Django classes for you, not this one. This one is already for existing Python students. Almost 2 to 3 batches are going on. For them, I'm taking this Django class, not for you. I will take these Django classes later. Yeah. And guys, and if you have any queries and if you want to talk with me, I think some of you might be wants to talk with me. No, just use this channel and use this one. Nagoor Babu classes @gmail.com. Send mail to this, then I'll give reply for it. Nagoor Babu classes @gmail.com. Just send mails to this. Then if you have any queries, If you have any queries, guys, just you can send a mail to this one. Then I can talk with you. That means I can check that and I can talk with you regarding that. First of all, and what do you want to talk with? Just try to send that email to this mail ID. Then maybe tomorrow after the class, I'll give time for you and I will talk with you regarding that. Is okay? Shiva. And Dinesh Reddy. Then you also, I think so. Yeah, thank you. Fine, guys. Then anything else apart from this? Then I can give clarity. Apart from this, anything else if you want to type, if you raise the issue, that means if you raise the queries, then I can clarify. 5 minutes of time I will be available with you. Nothing from my side. Thank you, Dinesh. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Shiva. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Right, sir. And join for Python package, we may design will start. Any appropriate candidate will let us know sometime before. Yes, because ready. That's what I'm telling there. Up to core Python. Actually, here we have some division there. Almost all up to core Python. To core Python, we have to wait for Django. After core Python, that means after core Python and after core Python and when I start advanced Python, then I will then I will start Django. Then I will start Django. That's absolutely clear what I'm telling you. After core Python and when I start advanced Python, then I will start then I will start Django, guys. Then maybe on around then for completing this core Python, it may take nearly 25 to 30 days of time, nearly 1 month of time. And after that one, I will start Django. Yeah, parallel classes I will start Django. Along with advanced Python, I will start Django. Nearly it will take 1 month of time to start Django. Why? Because within 1 or 2 days of time, I'm going to start some other batch for Django, not required for you. That is for existed Python batch students, not for you. Already 1 or 2 batches are already going on with me regarding this Python. So for them, I'm going to start this Django, not for you. Django will start for you separately as a separate batch. Understood? Because ready. Yeah, thank you. And because ready, one more thing I'm telling this, directly will not start with Django. We'll start first UI technologies. Then after that, we will start Django. Yeah, then there is a procedure for it. As early as possible, we'll plan for it. Yes. Yeah, Amit, no problem, Amit. Then we will get all rights. Then what you are expecting, then we'll provide that. Don't have any second thoughts. Then what you are expecting, then just give information to us, then we'll provide. It's not at all matter. Why? Because you have all rights in Java and in Python. Then why? Because you selected for packages, no? Then we are giving the complete privileges to you to attend for this. In any way, in which way you are expecting, we are able to provide that. Yes. Not required to think about it. Just convey message to the Bhavani, and Bhavani will give directions to you to attend for these classes. Yeah. Yeah, but UI technologies part I will give dates up. Then not immediately anyway. Then just we are at the starting point. Just let us at least let us confirm all the admissions regarding this. Then after that we will start UI technologies part. Again I'm telling that it may take at least some time. Not immediately. It will sometime. I'm telling to you, all around nearly 20 to 25 days of time, we have to attend single slot only. After this 20 to 25 days of time, I will start. I will start second slot. Yeah, those who have taken this package. Santosh, understood it. Understand it. What I'm saying to you, Santosh sir, are you getting my point? What I'm telling you? Yes, definitely. Definitely, I will start, sir. But not immediately. It will take a little bit time. There are still admissions are going on. Then once admissions are completed, almost 20 to 25 days of time, only one slot. Then after that, I will start that second slot content. Yeah, if time is possible, even third slot also, depending as per your availability, I will check. I will check with you, then I will start it. Yeah, sure. Anything else, guys? Apart from this, and try to complete your registration as early as possible, guys. Remaining members also. Content is already started. Demos are also be completed. But as early as possible, we are going to move on to the content. Right. And maybe within few days of time, within 2 to 3 days of time, this link is going to be changed. Private link will come, and meanwhile, and before that, try to complete your registrations. Yeah. Anyway, then after the class, and our admin person, she will share the content and everything to you. Just we can talk with her. She will make a call to you, and you can talk with her if you have any queries. Yeah. Okay, guys, that's fine. And shall we meet on tomorrow? Shall we meet on tomorrow? Yeah. See you tomorrow, guys. See you tomorrow. Thanks a lot.